The honourable member for Dartmouth North.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask the Minister of Housing about the housing crisis. On Election Day in Dartmouth North, there were a significant number of residents who did not vote, not because they did not want to, but because they could not. The elevator in their 5-story building had been out of service for 5 days and will not be fixed until this Friday for a total of 9 days. Many of the residents who are older or who rely on mobility devices have not been able to leave their apartments to get groceries, fill prescriptions, or attend appointments, let alone vote, and don't even start thinking about, if there was an emergency in that building, Mr. Speaker. The current housing situation is impacting the adequacy of housing stock, as landlords have little incentive to maintain the good working order of their buildings. Renters are disempowered to demand improvements for fear of retribution, and because there's simply nowhere else for them to go. Mr. Speaker, will the minister acknowledge this extreme consequence of the state of housing in this province?
Honourable Minister for the Nova Scotia Department of Housing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for the question. As I've said previous in this House, Mr. Speaker, we're very pleased to have signed a 10-year deal with the national government. This will bring many, much needed dollars, millions and millions of dollars, Mr. Speaker, near $500 million over the next 10 years. A lot of that money is going to be invested in the housing stock that we currently have, as well as creating new opportunities for all age groups that require housing and shelter needs in this province, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Dartmouth North.
Mr. Speaker, time and again we're hearing these talking points about this bilateral agreement, but we know that the first 3 years will only go to repairing housing stock, which is important, but it's not going to solve the crisis of units available for people to live in. Mr. Speaker, some of the people in this building are on a fixed income. Some of them will be among the more than 23,000 people in the province paying more than 50% of their income on rent and utilities. They, like many others across the province, simply cannot afford the 35, 45, and even 50% rent increases that landlords are currently serving to tenants, sometimes because they complain too much about repairs that need to get done. Mr. Speaker, surely the members of this government can understand that a vacancy rate of less than 2%, a severe lack of affordable housing, and virtually zero constraints on colossal rent hikes is an absolutely unsustainable situation. So can the minister please recognize how his government's inaction is turning a housing crisis into a potential homelessness crisis?
The Honourable Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We recognize in this government there are challenges, Mr. Speaker, because of what's not been done in the past. Mr. Speaker, we are moving forward with this agreement and with the dollars that are here. We also have programs that have been ongoing, Mr. Speaker, and because of this agreement, they are allowing us to continue that. We know that there are challenges. We will continue to work with our partners right across this province, Mr. Speaker, here in the HRM and all over Nova Scotia, to do more for housing, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.